Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit about custom anodized aluminum plates. The month of January has been actually pretty busy when it comes to anodized aluminum. We've done more anodized aluminum projects in overall volume just in January than we have the last 3 years since we started the business. So what you see here is a custom anodized aluminum plate that was water jet cut and then laser etched, as you can see the information on there. And because this was only one unit that the customer wanted, that's why we used the water jet and the laser to do this one. Let's say we had 1,000 of these units, then we go to another process, either stamping or actually doing a laser cutting of all the anodized aluminum. It just depends on what the specs are for the quality that they want. And what I mean by that is, let's say like these little holes here that you see are screw holes. Now for the water jet, that's just about the smallest diameter hole we can make. After that, anything smaller would have to do with the laser, because the laser has a smaller diameter beam than the water jet, that is basically water and sand shooting down to cut a plate like this. So regardless of how the anodized aluminum is cut, whether it's stamped, laser cut, or water jet cut, the next process, I'd say about 9.5 times out of 10, involves some sort of etching or bleaching of the aluminum that you see here. Now this is anodized, so you can see the original aluminum is in the middle here that was cut, and here you can see the bleaching or the etching, depending on how you want to define it. Now the nice thing about anodized aluminum is that you can have it in basically any color that you want. So let's say you had a whole bunch of, we'll just use this as an example, Jeep panels, and you wanted some red ones, some green ones, some blue ones. Right away we know we got to use anodized aluminum over, let's say, stainless steel, although we can also make them in stainless steel or even mild steel, whatever your preference is. Now every material has a plus and a minus, so the nice thing about anodized aluminum is the color that we can get. If we went with, let's say, mild steel, what would happen to it is that it would start to rust pretty quickly, so that's why we have to upgrade, so to speak, to stainless steel. Now if you're using stainless steel in freshwater area without any public swimming pools and that kind of stuff, 304 would be totally fine. The problem we have is that sometimes our customers use what we have and then they go, let's say, near the ocean, which is salt water, or they happen to be next to a public pool with lots of chlorine, and that'll make the 304 stainless steel start to rust or corrode. So then we have to upgrade to 316. So at least with my company, you have the option of a huge variety of different just metals, let alone we could do the same thing here in wood or in plastic as well. Now there are a few levels of custom that I like to tell customers about. So a project like this here would be totally custom, no matter on the volume. So in this case here we have a certain thickness, which is basically credit card thickness of anodized aluminum. It's black, it has holes in these specific areas, and it's this rough perimeter. Now most of the stuff that we do with anodized aluminum is roughly business card sized, something like this here, or something like this here. Now the nice thing about volume is that I get a whole bunch of standard plates done in one shot, because we get a lot of customers ordering and they only need, let's say, 5 of these things here. And as a result, because I have the inventory, it's a quick project to do and ship out pretty much the same day. Now when it comes to something like this here, that's totally custom, the timeline is generally, I'd say, a couple of days to a week. It depends on the spec and what kind of material and the color and what we have in stock here in the shop. But custom, when it comes to something like this here, is a lot more involved, meaning that we need to do a digital drawing of it, which the customer approves, and then we actually go ahead and do the fabrication. Now something to keep in mind, again, there are a couple of limitations when it comes to anodizing. In this case here, there's only one unit, so to actually get a whole vat full of just one unit like this here would be not very cost effective. So as a result, this was done from a sheet of anodized aluminum, and then it was water jet cut out. Now let's say we have 1,000 of these kind of things here to do. Well, in this case here, we could cut it out first, cut or stamp, doesn't really matter. And then we throw it in the vat for anodizing, and as a result you have the edges that are also anodized. In this case here, it's for switches and gears and that kind of stuff, and as a result it's not worth the extra cost to do a vat of just black. It's just more cost effective to use a sheet here, cut it out, do the laser work, and then ship it out. only doing one unit like this here, there's no point actually doing a jig for that project because it would cost more money. It'll take longer to set up to do a jig than just to actually do it directly on the part. When you have, let's say, a whole bunch of business cards or standard size, let's say 50 to 100 to 1,000 units, what we generally do is make a custom jig. In this case here, it's acrylic, but this was made a couple years ago. And the purpose of this one here is actually just to hold the cards so that we can do production a lot quicker. It also has the holes in the back because sometimes they get stuck in there. Now, one of the problems we've found with acrylic jigs is that they tend to dry out over time. So that's why pretty much all of the jigs that I do internally here in the shop are all MDF, which is roughly 1/8 or 1/4 inch, depending on the material that we're doing the laser work or the routering work or the water jet work. So when it comes to material options for your custom application, the options are totally endless with us. The nice thing about us is that we actually give you the choice of choosing what you want. Now, when it comes to cost effectiveness and volume, nothing really beats anodized aluminum because we can buy it in a full sheet, cut it out to size, and then ship it out. Now, when it comes to stainless steel, it does cost more, even if the thickness is the same. When we go to 304 to, let's say, 316 stainless steel, it's another, say, 30 to 50% bump in price, just because there's extra corrosion resistance, but there's a lot less suppliers offering us plate steel, 316 stainless steel than 304, so the cost is higher. So if you want custom applications done in metal, contact me at CNCKing.com. We can laser etch it with the laser behind me here, but with both the CO2 and the fiber. Now with the CO2, that means we get an off-white on anodized aluminum. And with the fiber, we get something like, let me grab it over here. This here, this is 316 stainless steel. And we get a very dark brown or a light black, if that's such a color. So no matter your material, we can brand it here in the shop and ship it right to your door. So if you have a project, contact me at CNCKing.com.